greater attention being paid to the fact that Bola Tinubu lied and committed forgery and fraud on his election application in sworn documents. So this included a lot about his educational qualifications, which he clearly lied about, and it included failure to disclose his criminal prosecutions in the United States. And as a result, what we've seen belatedly as a result of a US attempt under the Freedom of Information Act to have documents in the federal government of the United States released into the public domain. Now, in September, the FBI said it would start releasing 500 documents or 500 pages.
Good day, my name is Angelo. This is Nation's Voice Tower, that hub that keeps you updated on every occurrences pertaining to our democratic system and the governing system in Nigeria, of course, as it borders the masses. Thanks for joining us. Something has happened in the political space internationally, and I feel I should bring our minds to it. This is very, very serious, and it's referring to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The U.S. government, the government of the United States, have finally spoken up. Okay, they have acted all the while as if as though they have not really paid attention to the political catastrophe going on in Nigeria and the misdeeds of the tribunal and of all the subsequent, or the perceived, injustice or subvert of justice by the Supreme Court. All right. In the wake of this, the United States has warned the Nigerian Supreme Court against confirming Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president. How did they do this? The head of the United States intelligence at the Global Information System, GIS, and also director of the ISSA Center for the Study of Monarchy and Traditional Governance, Mr. Gregory Copley, has warned the Nigerian Supreme Court against confirming Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the authentic winner of the February 25th, 2023 presidential elections. In an audio-video recording during an interview in an unidentified radio station in London, Mr. Gregory Copley did not leave any fact unsaid. He vomited everything that had to do with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In fact, he spoke about Bola Ahmed Tinubu's criminal records, and I felt that whatever he exposed there were things or matter of national importance, and they feel so much in the US that Bola Tinubu is an illegitimate government hijacker, and as such, he should not really be considered as a legitimate president, not yet, until the court says otherwise. He thereafter began from the election period, and he narrated everything that happened during the election period and how there was little or no collation of results by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Please stay tuned for the interview of Gregory Copley, where he warned the Supreme Court not to in any way try and affirm Bola Tinubu as president of Nigeria.
Firstly, we have to understand that Nigeria is this great bellwether for Africa. It's the largest population and the largest economy in Africa. It has moved very deliberately past an era of coups which were intended to save democracy in many years past, and the military have not intervened this time and have indicated that they don't want to intervene. But the reality is that the Independent National Electoral Commission really showed that it was bought off by the outgoing administration in order to put their candidate, Bola Tinubu, in the front seat of the election. He won about a third of the votes, 36% of the votes. He won a third of the states in Nigeria, but he failed to win something which was stipulated in the constitution. He had to win not only a given number of states, but also the federal capital territory around Abuja. He failed to win Abuja. Now, the logical outcome for the election commission would have been to call for a second round of voting between the top two candidates, Atiku Abubakar and Bola Tinubu. That they didn't do. They just awarded the election to Tinubu. Now, that's well and good, and it was appealed to the elections court, which again ruled in favor of Tinubu, even though there was a prima facie case of that it violated the Constitution. There are always questions about the bribing and corruption within the courts and within INEC, the Election Commission. But then we've now started to see greater attention being paid to the fact that Bola Tinubu lied and committed forgery and fraud on his election application in sworn documents. So this included a lot about his educational qualifications, which he clearly lied about. And it included failure to disclose his criminal prosecutions in the United States. And as a result, what we've seen belatedly, as a result of a US attempt under the Freedom of Information Act to have documents in the federal government of the United States released into the public domain. Now, in September, the FBI said it would start releasing 500 documents or 500 pages a month of its documents on Tinubu out of 2,500 total pages of material that they have on him. The CIA, the State Department, the IRS, the Drug Enforcement Agency have also got a mass of data about Bola Tinubu's activities in the United States, and they too are preparing to release all this information. And what it's starting to show is that Bola Tinubu has used many aliases along his career, including to gain an education or to gain claims of education, and he basically put pressure on Chicago State University not to release the transcriptions of anything to do with him, because they show that he used different names, that he used several different social security numbers in the United States, some of which were clearly borrowed or fraudulent. He clearly forged the number of documents. He borrowed another person's identity to file studies which were required educationally. So he's done a number of things, but he particularly was prosecuted in Chicago in the 1990s for narcotics trafficking. And he basically pleaded no contest to that and escaped with a forfeiture of $460,000 rather than go to prison. So there's a lot which is coming out about him. So the appeal against the election outcome after being rejected by the election courts is now getting ready to go to the Supreme Court of Nigeria. And that's going to be accompanied by all of this other information about Tinubu's forgeries, if Bola Tinubu is in fact his name, but he's lied on about literally every aspect of his life. So it gets to be a very interesting situation. It's to the point now where if the Supreme Court does not overturn this election, then there will be serious consequences. I've had it, and that's one of the reasons I'm in London speaking to a lot of my African correspondents who've come up to meet me, is that there will be consequences such as a move to impeach President Tinubu, starting either in the Senate or in the House of Representatives in Nigeria. But certainly there's cooperation among House and Senate people, politicians there, to start not only an impeachment of the president to overturn the election, but also to start censuring or impeaching the Supreme Court if it fails to do its duty, and also, of course, to start prosecuting officials within INEC, the Independent National Election Commission, as well. So this starts to get very, very ugly. The military has basically said, well, we don't want to be back in government ever again. It's just too damaging to the country to restart the clock every time. But what you will see is an increase in public unrest. You'll see the government being unable to coordinate any compromises with its neighbors in ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, in the fight against the jihadist movements such as Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa and the like. So this is going to get really ugly really quickly and will further impact the Nigerian economy unless the Supreme Court does its duty. Now, I raise that
we have a minute, Gregory. Go ahead. We have a minute.
The Supreme Court is actually being assaulted by the Tinubu State House with bribery offers and all manner of coercive measures. So the 7 justices who we now know have been chosen for this Supreme Court case really are up against a massive dilemma, whether they cave to corruption, which they may, or whether they bring the country into real chaos.
Has either the UK government or the US government commented? We've got 30 seconds.
No, they have not commented, but the fact that the US government is now caved completely and is releasing documents over 5 major agencies, starting with the FBI, is a statement in itself.
Okay, I won't say much on that because those words there were self-explanatory. Okay, so I wouldn't like to dwell more on that. It is left for those involved to take heed from the advice they are giving, because the US and other members of the international community have their eyes on Nigeria. All right. Now, I have a video where the Eastern Security Network, ESN, the military outfit of the indigenous people of Biafra, have come up in a video footage once more to issue threats and warnings to Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his federal government, or the Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led federal government. And also, these ESN soldiers had to quickly order the release of Nnamdi Kanu, or there will be no peace in the southeast. These men have been coming up in different video footages to issue threats to the Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led government. Okay, I see no reason why Bola Ahmed Tinubu should not, pay attention to a part of Nigeria that have an outcry. Well, I don't know if there are conflicts of interest, obviously, but he should also give his listening ear to people who want to speak to him, especially with matters of security or matters of security importance or national importance like this. Okay, this has to do with lots of occurrences recently. Especially, they were citing an example where Sunday Igboho, the famous man that came up from the southwest sometime to challenge the President Muhammadu Buhari government due to 1 or 2 issues. All right, Sunday Igboho was released, and these people from the ESN are asking for the quick release of Nnamdi Kanu to that effect. Please listen to their own grievances in this video.
If you don't want to lose lives, Tinubu or Eastern leaders, if you don't want to lose lives, release Nnamdi Kanu. The same way you release Sunday Igboho, release Nnamdi Kanu in that way. Onyezoku have come up again. Onyezoku have come up again, and I have spoken. I have spoken. And this is my word. And this is my powerful message to Tinubu and all the whole Eastern leaders. I don't have much to say than to release Nnamdi Kanu before this month runs up. Before this month we runs up, release Nnamdi Kanu. The same way you release Sunday Igboho, release Nnamdi Kanu in that way. I have told you, a great fire is coming upon the country. A great fire is coming upon Nigeria. A fire that nobody can quench it. I must tell you this. Be careful with Igbos. Igbos did not do anything in this society. We only want our freedom. And no Biafra, no peace. Onyezoku land again. This is me. I don't land again. Many have been talking rubbish. Many have been saying all sorts of things. I know where I am coming from. And I am still traveling again. I know where I have been before. I am still traveling. Any moment from now, I am still traveling. And my coming back again will be on fire. I just want to receive this with some of the proper the tools. I will only want to receive this with some of the tools. We are fully ready. Thank God everything has been signed to Biafrans. Thank God we have gotten all we need. Nigeria, Chepenaka Oranyo, Chenaka Orobia France, Unama Fesu Ibua, all Igbo leaders, Unama Fesu, Kamwaku Nezoku, all these things are not doko, or Unuakana Dotarea. Makana Hagi Wegiricha, Ndeberabe Alala, Ofofokara Lunua. Ofofora Lunua, would the Igbo leaders, Ofofokara Lunua. I know there is one Juele Kukua. And when much equal than to say goodbye to the people of Biafra. Goodbye to our people. Nigeria, the zoological country. I cannot say goodbye to you because I have come back again. And I stand Gidibam. This time around, when I go hear the sound of my chain. That time where the hungry when I make una come collect, when I want come collect, when I go hear the sound again, I am fully back. No matter say I will still travel any moment from now. But when I go hear my hands and when I go hear my message, which I know that when I go see deliver it, when I go deliver my message. We don't condemn the Warun. Huh? The owners of the land. The owners of the land. Huh? I can bring my man also there.
All right, things will go on, but it's left for the federal government to give their ears to these people, all right, because there must be a way to come to compromise with such issues, all right. You don't just leave issues to go just like that, you know. Yes, and that is how it's supposed to be done, even though the Bola Tinubu government is illegitimate. But as far as you're on seat as at this time, you should be able to give listening ears to various regions in the country for a sort of general or unison peace. So would have a sort of security network that can control the country, not having different issues coming up security-wise. All right, the insecurity of Nigerians is so important, and that we need to make sure that every region is so secure, just like Abuja is. These days we hear that Abuja is no longer secure because of incessant kidnappings and other social vices. Please, the government should do the needful to secure the lives and properties of Nigerians. Finally, Arise News analyst Frank Tietie has spoken on the issue of the crude oil theft in the Niger Delta. All right, Frank Tietie thinks so much that the security that has been provided so far in the Niger Delta areas, especially places where they are blessed with this crude oil, is not enough. He feels that the integration of private security and the various security outfits of Nigeria are not enough. Hence the reason why he has called on the federal government to put more efforts and, you know, tighten up security in these south areas to ensure little or no theft of crude oil in these regions. Please stay tuned for Frank Tietie in the studios.
In the Nigerian situation,
it's a freebie.
It's a deliberate element at trying. I mean, a deliberate attempt at
underscore that.
At sabotage by a number of persons, highly organized, and in this case we don't know them because there is a breakback between those who live in the community and the highly technical experts who run the petroleum industry. So we in terms of metering, in terms of applying technology to actually determine what happens to the pipelines, because they must have pipelines. Now the idea is this: the NNPCL, together with the Office of the National Security Advisor, thought it all through to realize that it is better to have private persons joining forces with government, especially persons who have stakes. And then they came to that irrefutable conclusion that they then go back to those former warlords who are enjoying amnesty. The problem is, and it was a very fine idea, because what it means is that these persons understand the creeks, they understand the mangrove forest, they know oil. That's why Tantita was able to discover some of those things in Delta State. It's the same thing applies across in Bayelsa and Rivers. Now the challenge, therefore, NNPC sits here, NNPCL I would say sits here in Abuja. It doesn't understand the terrain. But the problem is, even
that's not entirely true, because who laid the pipes?
No, those pipes were laid long time ago by companies, not necessarily by NNPC. Shell and the rest of them did that. The problem is this:
they went there.
the challenge to the minister's call, which is very important, is that we do not know. The militants are saying, ex-militants are saying, we have the solution because it is the guys who run the oil companies that possess the expertise to bust pipelines, to siphon oil, crude oil, and sell in the international waters. Even when you apply the strict high technology metering processes or monitoring processes, the human elements who are collaborating from official security forces together with those who run the oil and gas industry and are the ones who bear the brunt. Unfortunately, if the idea of asking these private military contractors or ex-militants, if it is well integrated, if you have all of them together in every state, I believe that they will sufficiently as stakeholders protect these oil installations.
What you're saying, I almost called you Tom Polo. I just had that name at the top of my head. Frank Tete, what you're saying is that there is no security threat to Nigeria giving this monopoly to one company to oversee
a big security threat. If you ask only Tantita to provide security for our pipelines, whereas General Tompolo's influence is limited to Delta State, and even in Delta State he's even being challenged by the likes of Chief Ayuri Amami. What should be done is that the personality like the National Security Advisor or the NNPCL GMD should quickly realize and integrate them, all of them, and make sure that they all work together. Why should Aseri Dokuba be feeling disgruntled, even though he's a fellow job? I'm saying that look, he's been sidelined. Why should Egberi Papa believe that it is because he has dropped arms, and despite the number of persons who follow him and they will ask him and say, look at Tompolo's boys, they're getting money for protecting pipelines in Delta. What about what's happening to us in Rivers State?
So there could be sabotage?
Well, no. It's a possibility, but at this time there is a way you cannot accuse Tompolo now. Because Tompolo is a stakeholder in protecting pipelines in Delta State. You cannot accuse. In fact, he has delivered. The same thing you can hold as Seketom. You can hold General Boylof. You can hold Asari Dokubo if you give them responsibilities to protect this. After all, you're paying them. You're offering services. The same thing applies to Egberi Papa, who has a number of persons that are looking up to him. And in fact, the problem is that they are quarreling among themselves because they think that they are collecting Tompolo. Their leaders are not doing enough to secure contracts for them.
All right, Frank Tete there, all said and done. He has concluded with his own analysis, and that's just the fact. From me, I will tell you for free. Nigeria has passed the stage where we should still have problem of oil bunkering to a high degree. Okay, to that effect, I am calling on the federal government, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Navy, and other security outfits involved in securing the Nigerian oil pipelines. All right, to do the needful quickly. Because I think we've passed the stage of insurgency, let alone oil theft. All right, so if we can actually try our best to curb insurgency, which we are yet to curb finally or completely, I think we should have other media or other military laid down operations to curb up the high level of oil theft in the South. That is that from me. I hope you enjoyed our updates together. I would love to urge you to please like our videos, share them. Don't forget to drop a comment for us in the comment section. If you're watching me for the first time, please tap the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that we'll get to link up anytime I drop a new video. From my table, I'm saying see you next time. Bye.